Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to get started here in a few minutes. I know everybody likes to join these webinars at the last second, so we're going to give people 1 or 2 more minutes and then we'll kick things off. So just hold on tight for us for another minute or so here. All right, so we can go ahead and get started. Thank you guys again so much for joining us. My name is Connor Hockett. I'm the Marketing and Communications Manager here at Bongo. Before I hand the reins over to Angjon and Izzy, I just wanted to mention a few things. They're going to be presenting for about 30 minutes or so, and then we're going to have an extended Q&A session at the end. So as they go through their presentation, I encourage all of you guys to type any questions that you have either in the question box or the chat, and we'll go through those, and I'll look through those as we go and answer as many as I can, and then anything that's left over, anything I want them to give a little bit more clarification on, I'll pass it over to them. But as I said, feel free to type those in as they go. But other than that, Angjon, take it away.
All right, thanks, Connor. Hi, everyone. I'm Angjon. I work with our digital learning partners and publishers at Magic EdTech, who are using and leveraging our Magic Box platform, which now offers the video workflows that is powered by Bongo. Izzy's going to show you all of those workflows today and what those look like. We'll cover why and how video can be infused into online learning and instruction, how to create experiential learning opportunities, and what outcomes to expect. So we'll also take it a step further, and after Izzy demonstrates the different video-based workflows, we'll briefly tell you about how these can not only be created, but distributed, tracked, and monitored on one platform, which this will enable you to analyze learner performance and identify when supplemental material and support may be needed to create an even more enhanced personalized learning experience. But first, why is this so important today? According to the Digital Promise survey of 350 schools this year, these are the challenges that they're going to need to be addressed, and which makes them very high priorities for them as well. The good news is that there is technology already in place and available that can be used to address these priorities. And it goes especially for the top ones like the student engagement, social learning, social emotional learning, and establishing a deeper student-to-teacher relationship as well. The point being, we know that this back to school is going to be unlike any that we've ever experienced. And there's traditional methods to teaching and learning that just aren't going to work at all or work well enough for every student that is, and teachers that are going to be shifting to digital this year. So with that, I'll hand it over to Izzy to talk more about how the video is being leveraged and how our joint solution is going to be used to address these challenges.
Thanks, Angjon. So like Angjon just mentioned, going into this fall 2020 school year, we have some unique challenges with the global pandemic going on and everybody quickly moving to online. But even before all of this, there were still some challenges that teachers experienced, and a lot of that had to do with scale, right? So scaling assessment when it's face-to-face, or providing pointed and personalized feedback to every student, especially if you have multiple sections or large class sizes. And then the other side of things is that while we have multiple choice and written tests and they're necessary for certain things, they don't capture all skills, and they don't necessarily validate competency with those softer skills like communication and collaboration. And so that's really where Bongo comes in. And the way I want you guys to think about these video exercises as I go through it is thinking back to how you learned how to ride a bike. And you probably didn't read a bunch of essays about it, take a test. You might have watched a video, but what it really took was getting out on the pavement, scraping your knee a few times, and really pedaling while getting some coaching from your parents. But if we think about, what if your parents had to teach every kid in the neighborhood or every kid in the city how to ride a bike? It would get out of hand really quick. And so that's where our structured workflows come in. So MagicBox's video workflows are really built to facilitate this skill practice and demonstration all within a real world context. And so we have 4 different workflows that all support different use cases. But the other side of this experiential practice is getting coaching and feedback. And to help it scale the feedback, we also have some machine-driven feedback tools like auto analysis, which I'm going to go ahead and get into right now. So I'm going to quickly hop in and show you a few of these examples. The first one I'm showing is called individual project. And this activity is really about practice, doing some self-assessment, continuing that practice until you feel really good, and then you put your best foot forward. So in this specific example, I need to watch this short video about the 4 A's of marketing and then explain within the context of a specific brand how those work. So this could actually be really cool if you're a publisher or something like that, to put these show me what you know exercises at the end of a section or a chapter to really validate that these students not only digested that content and can maybe take a multiple choice test about it, but they can also articulate all that knowledge like they would in real life, verbally, on the spot. So in order to do this, you just come to the add button and you select video. What's really cool about this is that you can also share your screen. So if you think about public speaking class or any time that you're presenting, you could have your screen shared at the same time, click through a slide deck while you give your presentation. You could also share your screen and just do a voiceover. So if you think, business computing and how to do certain functions on Excel, well, you can kind of show your work by explaining the steps you're taking as you're going. But for this example, I'm just going to share my camera. And so you guys can put a face to the name here. But there's the big record button in the middle. I can get myself prepared, make sure I have all my material, I know what I'm going to say, and then I hit the record button and I'm off to the races. And we have up to 2 hours to do this demonstration presentation, and we do also have a timer. So if I need to get this done in a specific amount of time, I do know where I'm at. But we do also have this up to 2 hours here, because if you think about maybe physical therapy where you need to demonstrate a stretch or something that's a little bit more technical, you want to have plenty of time to be able to show what you know. But once I'm done, I just click the stop button. And because this is low stakes, I can go ahead and reset it. But what we really encourage learners to do is to just click the save button, because this work in progress section right here is my sandbox as a learner. So obviously I can come in and I can preview a video and see what I did. But we also have this auto analysis option here. So that's what I was talking about on the slide deck, is getting this machine-driven feedback. And essentially what happens is Bongo, or the auto analysis is going to spit out a transcript of every single thing that I said, and it's going to give me some instant feedback on both the delivery as well as the content of this presentation. So if you remember back to the instructions here, I was talking about the 4 A's of marketing. So you can see in the key terms, I have those 4 A's listed out here, and I know that I actually hit on all those points. On top of that, we have clarity, filler word, speaking rate to make sure that not only is my content where it needs to be, but my delivery is at a place where people are going to be able to receive that message. Now, I happen to be all in the green here, but if I had some in the orange or red, what I can do is exit out of this auto analysis, come in, go to the video button again, and continue this practice until I feel really comfortable. And I say, hey, practice number 2 was my best. I start that submission, and then I can go ahead and submit this activity. Now I'm prompted for some self-assessment, but we'll get into that a little bit later. So now I'm going to hop into question and answer. So while individual project, that last activity was low stakes, this is going to be a little bit more high stakes. And the reason for that is that once the recorder is activated, we immediately check my microphone and camera. When I click the start question button, the recording process is going to start automatically. So this is really great for replicating real world conversations, anything from a mock interview to a patient provider interaction to a conversation in Spanish. That's what this tool is really used for. And another way that this is used is it really simulates getting called out in class, having that pressure of, being asked to give your response on the spot. So this is actually a Spanish example. I'll click start question and we'll see how this works. So what happened in that she just asked me this question. I have it muted so that it's not echoing here, but we also display what she said over on the side. So if I, for whatever reason, lose my spot, I can quickly check back to the right and know what the question was. But you noticed a few things when I click start question. The first was that I moved picture to picture, and that's because we're gauging my nonverbals. Do I have this deer in the headlight look? You know, if I'm doing a patient-provider interaction, do I have empathy on my face? But as soon as the prompt is done, I come back to full screen, and you can see up here that the recording has been going on. So we also have minimum and maximum time parameters because we don't want people to just ramble on and miss the point, but at the same time, we don't want to give a yes, no, or just a couple words as our response here. If I hit that maximum time, I get cut off. But if I've answered the question completely before then, I can click the stop button down at the bottom of the recorder. And then what happens is I'm prompted for that next question, which once again, I have no insight into it until I click start. So a couple pieces here. You can have up to 20 questions in this question bank. You could randomize all of them, or you could randomize subsets. And what happens on the back end is we take the question, stitch it together with my response, the next question with my next response. So the review on the back end is just like watching one streamlined video or conversation happening. So the last activity I'm going to show today is called interactive video. And we really see three main use cases. And the first and probably most obvious is this idea of using video to transfer knowledge. I know a lot of instructors use it. When I was in school, instructors did it and they put a quiz at the end. And I was guilty of this when I was in school, but I would just find the answers in the video, answer the quiz, and move on with my life. But that defeats the purpose. And so what we've done to combat that challenge is embedded questions throughout the video. And as the learner, I don't know when they're going to pop up, so I really need to be paying attention. Now, another use case that we see here is having this video play out, and it's a real world scenario where when it pauses, the question is something along the lines of, what did you notice that they went wrong? Or where was the breakdown in communication? And how would you have responded differently? And then the final use case is almost like guided instructions, where the video will play step one of a process, then it's your turn to do step one. Then it'll play step two, now it's your turn to play step two. So I'll click begin and we'll watch how this one works. Again, it's muted, but this video is playing out, giving me some information right now, specifically about ACL rehab. So once some of the content's provided to me, the video pauses and it gives me a multiple choice question. Now this could be true or false as well. And when I select my answer and click submit, I get some feedback, and this feedback's customizable. So if I'm getting this answer wrong, you can point me back in the right direction. And you can take it even a step further and make it where I get this feedback, points me back in the right direction. I rewatch that portion of the clip until I can get the answer. But if everything is good, I'm ready to move on. I just click continue here and I pick up right where I left off. So this is Bongo's spin on technology like that, is replacing the short written response with a video response. And this comes in handy when it's the guided instructions or the skills critique, because now they really are doing what they would do if they were in that position. So again, this is low stakes. I can get myself set up, hit the record button, and I'm off to the races. And once I'm done giving my response here, I can come down to the stop button. And because this is low stakes, maybe I messed up really bad, I want to try again, I can always reset it. But again, if I'm good, I submit the video and pick up right where I left off. So while all of this exercise and practice is really important, that's really half the pie. And so while we do have cool tools like instructor-driven feedback or machine-driven feedback, we really want the instructor-driven feedback to be a part of this as well. So if I hop in from an instructor view and go into a student submission, so this was the activity I just submitted earlier on, I also have access to this auto-analysis report. So I can take a look at it and I don't have to count filler words. I don't have to judge how quick someone talked, and I can be aware of if they hit on all the content very quickly. But if I go ahead and play this video here, and I start to watch, and I notice that something comes up where maybe I need to give them a little bit of feedback. When I come into this comment section over here, the video on the left pauses, and that's because every comment that I type is going to be time-stamped. And we can also do this with video comments, where I come in here, I record myself on a very similar recorder to what we've been seeing, and that will also be time-stamped at that specific point in the video. And why this is really important is because now as a learner, I might get some macro level feedback on a rubric, but I also get that micro level feedback, specific points. It's very actionable. I can click on the timestamps to move to that section in the video, review what I need. And when you have something like video feedback that's timestamped, it's really great for correcting the nuances of pronunciation and vocab for maybe someone who's learning English as a second language, or maybe it's an American Sign Language course where typing it out in text isn't going to be as good as just showing them what they might have done wrong there. But the whole idea is that for the student to be able to come back in here, do some experiential practice, then get some actionable feedback to really drive improvement. So that's Bongo in a nutshell. I'm going to pass it back to Angjon to talk a little bit about how these video workflows work within the Magic Box solution.
Great. Thanks, Izzy. Yeah, so I think that the examples that Izzy provided, they're just the top of a very long list of possibilities that this technology can be used for. And there are other examples. If you have questions, or you want some ideas on some of your use cases that maybe you're thinking about now that Izzy went through the demonstration, you can post those in the chat. But it's really great that the technology is there. Some of you may be thinking, well, how is this going to be integrated into all the systems that I'm already using, or all the systems that the schools that I work with are already using? And the good news is that there's already technology that is there. And with the Magic Box video workflows, these are now just one feature of a platform that over 4 million students are using to seamlessly access their content online and offline, and that includes their video-based assessments as well. The answer is really it's all about interoperability, which takes all of these systems being built around industry standards, right? Magic Box is, and it's considered a leader in the remote learning space. It provides single sign-on capabilities and offline student access to the digital content. It's also backed by powerful and detailed analytics, and it's already compliant with COPA and FERPA and the student data privacy compliance as well. With all the interoperability challenges, it might feel like it's a very fragmented, it's very fragmented in the technology landscape, but Magic Box does ensure seamless integration with all the major LMSs using LTI. It supports Clever, Google Classroom, ClassLink, and OneRoster for rostering the users. And this is so that you don't have users logging into multiple systems to access whatever content they need to. For online instruction. It also provides them with the capability to access their grades and to see their progress all in one place as well. I just wanted to also share with you all that we are very excited to announce that Magic Box was recently given a Gold 2020 Learning Impact Award from IMS Global under the Student Success and Outcomes-Based Learning Support Services. So that was just announced a couple of weeks ago. And if you'd like to learn more about the Magic Box video workflows that you saw here today, how it can be used by schools, universities, associations, and other use cases for it, please feel free to reach out to me at any point. My email will be shared with you all today. You may have already seen a few emails from me. And I'd be happy to set up some time with you so you can see this all in action, and so that we could talk about maybe some of the ideas and some of the use cases you all might have as well.
Connor, you're on mute.
So Connor was going to wrap it up for us. I'm not sure if we have any questions in in the chat that we could we'd be happy to address now.
Hey, Angel, sorry so much. Everybody probably saw me on webcam, but I forgot that I was on mute. I was saying that same thing.
Happen.
Just wanted to thank everybody for taking the time to come in. And as I mentioned previously, we have some extended period of time here at the end for questions. I didn't actually see any come in during the presentation in the chat or the question box, so I guess that's just a testament to you and Izzy giving such a great little look at these video workflows. But wanted to give everybody an opportunity if, as you mentioned, they have any questions about specific use cases or um, how these video workflows might apply um, to their specific product or anything like that. I wanted to give everyone a chance to type any questions that they have. Um,
Yeah, and while we're kind of waiting, I don't know, Izzy, if you, I mean, while we're waiting for any questions to come in, since we do have a few more minutes, if there's any like high level examples for use cases, I know that you and I have talked about how some schools are implementing this, and even organizations implement this to facilitate sales training and English and foreign languages. So can you just throw out some of like the top examples or use cases? It might give other people an idea, or some ideas for how it could be applied, not only for the examples that you covered today, but just at a high level.
Yeah, absolutely. So as Angel mentioned, language learning is huge for us. And a big part of that is you learn how to speak Spanish, or you're learning English, not just so you can write, but you really need to be able to speak, right? That's the reason you're learning these languages. And by using video to have people demonstrate that they can pronounce words right, form the sentences the right way, it gives a more authentic representation of where they're at to the instructor, and it gives the students some real world practice with speaking in a new language. Now, if we think about corporate, sales training is another great one. With that high stakes video assignment, you can really put those reps on the spot to handle objections, to answer specific questions, or even to ask the right questions based on what they were just told. And we also have a pretty big footprint in health sciences, because a lot of what they learn there is really technical, right? How to take blood, how to diagnose certain symptoms. But another huge aspect of being a healthcare provider is empathy, and how you can talk about what's going on with the patient, how you can get the information you need from them. And so to develop those softer skills, they really like to use Bongo in a variety of ways.
Awesome. Thanks so much for that, Izzy. We've actually got some questions coming in now. This one's from Steven. He asks, can the instructor question review area be embedded into an existing instructor gradebook program?
Yeah, so I'm going to let Angjon talk a little bit about that, but typically what we like to do is feedback with a grade and roster sync. But considering that this is all through MagicBox, and MagicBox integrates via LTI, I'm assuming it's the same. Angjon, do you have any info on?
No, I mean, that's basically what it is. So because we have now Bongo, all these video workflows available in MagicBox, and because we're LTI compliant, we can integrate with any other system that is LTI compliant, and we can make it so that the systems are talking to each other for the grade passback and whatnot. So we definitely do support that workflow.
Awesome. And this is a question from Kimberly. She asked, can you tag video assessment items with learning standards?
Yeah, so we also do have the tagging for state standards. So we have all of those already mapped out so that the questions can be tagged with certain state standards aligned, and then also have reporting generated around that as well.
Awesome. This is another comment/question. Looks to be a good way to deliver a skills-based curriculum. How about more knowledge-based subjects like math and science?
Yeah, we actually, especially given the times right now, are seeing people use these video assignments to have students not just talk about, okay, I did a really complex math problem that's meant to solve a specific problem, applied math. Well, again, going back to what does that mean for work? If you think about higher education and what you're doing there, a big part of that is that's your stepping stone into the workplace, right? And so taking a bunch of math tests or doing problem sets is great. It develops the skills you need, the underlying skills. But when you get to work, you need to be able to talk about that math, right? Talk about how you got to these specific processes. So a lot of times what they'll do is they'll have students include a file that demonstrates the work that they've done, but actually explain how they got there, what they did, what impact that work actually has. So that's a lot of what we see there. Now, something else that I didn't show you that's also going to be available is virtual classroom. And so what they do there is they actually have students get up on the whiteboard, work through math problems in a synchronous setting.
Awesome. Thanks so much. And then Kimberly made another comment about how she could see this being used a lot with SEL content.
Yeah, actually I think it kind of goes hand in hand with the idea of, you know, empathy and soft skills, interpersonal communication and everything like that. And, you know, that's where Bongo really shines.
Here's another question. Would scoring be similar to what educators typically do with open response type items, where the teacher scores with a number, perhaps out of 4 points, and key enter the answer in to view the analytics?
Yeah, so we actually have quite a few different grade types. So we could do something where it's like 1 out of 5. We also have rubrics. We have your traditional percent grading, auto pass, pass, fail. So depending on the nature of the activity, you guys can really choose what you want to do. And with those rubrics, it's an interactive rubric. Click in the squares, it tallies up the score. And if you guys already have rubrics that you like to use, you can upload them into the system. They'll also be interactive.
Awesome. Kimberly also asked if you have any case studies in the K-12 market. And so Kimberly, I'll make sure that Angjon reaches out to you and sends any case studies that would apply in that sense after the call for sure.
Absolutely. Okay.
Let's see. So those were all the questions that we have right now. I'll continue to keep it open if anyone else has anything else. But as we continue to wait for more of those questions to come in, I will mention again that Angjon's email is going to be in the follow-up response that you get with the recording, because this session was recorded today. So a little bit later, everyone will receive a follow-up email with the recording in it. So if you want to rewatch this presentation, share it with any interested colleagues, you have the opportunity to do so. But again, if you respond to that email, or I believe within the email as well, Angjon's address should be in there, so you can communicate with her if you choose to. Here's Luis. I would also like to see the K-12 case study if possible. So Luis, we'll definitely get that to you as well.
Yeah, we can include that really in the follow-ups for all the attendees along with the recording.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Not seeing any other questions come in, but we're more than willing to hang around for a few more minutes if anybody wants to type any last minute questions.
I feel like we also covered a lot in just a half hour, so there may be a lot of questions that come up later on, and we could certainly, you know, address those offline. And again, schedule time with each one of you who are looking for more, you know, detailed demonstration, deep dive into what the joint solution looks like. Talk about how it's being, you know, implemented, rolled out into, you know, schools, school districts, universities, how associations are leveraging it for professional development, continuing education. But yeah, happy to schedule time with each one of you to do a deeper dive.
Awesome. So we'll maybe give it one more minute here to see if anybody has any last minute questions before we wrap up. So if you're wondering about anything, feel free to type it in any box that you want.
Everyone's good.
Yep, and I'm not seeing anything else. So again, thank you guys so much for taking the time to join us today, and you'll be hearing from us soon with the follow-up email that has the recording, and we'll obviously send the case studies to the interested parties as well. But thank everyone so much, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone.